The North Node in the 9th degree of Taurus, a Christmas tree decorated. And when we think of that image, a Christmas tree is filled with lights and sparkly things and emblems of optimism and so on. And it's brought into our lives at the darkest time of the year. This was celebrated by pagans, of course, before Christians, as the winter solstice, the point at which the light begins to start to dominate the dark. So the image of the darkest time of year is one where the light is re-emerging according to pagan philosophy. And here we have the same principle applied in a slightly different way to the Christmas tree. The Christmas tree brings light into the darkest time of the year. So we're looking at the darkness as being maximized just before the light begins to gain ascendancy with this image. And that's so important for these times. These are dark times. This may well be the darkest period of humanity. However, what we notice at the winter solstice is that even though it gets lighter and lighter every day, it actually gets colder and more wintry for a period of time. So the darkest point of the year is not the most wintry. We've got a period of suffering, shall we say, of the winter situation before we can be certain of a new dawn. And that's the essential message here. And this metaphor speaks to us very, very deeply at this particular time in world history. It is pretty obvious to many of us that an agency has taken over certain individuals and makes them speak obsessively and fearfully about conspiracy theory or whatever it is, their own pet fear. And they bring it out in their conversations all of the time. I don't know whether you've noticed this in your life, but I've got 3 or 4 people that turn up occasionally in my life, one of whom does it very much indeed. And that's their goal in any conversation, is to turn my attention around to this darkness that they experience and they can't rescue themselves from. And I've had a lot of thinking about this. What do? I don't want to enable them in their fear. I don't want to take it on for myself. And if I actually argue the point, it does nothing to help. It actually increases the intensity with which they insist that horrible things are going to happen to everyone soon. And I got 2 arguments about this. I mean, first of all, yeah, really. I mean, this has been predicted a lot over the centuries and perhaps millennia, that horrible things were going to happen to us, such as the end of the world. There have been so very many predictions of the end of the world. And I myself think of this as Armageddon, but I don't think of this as the end of the world. It's just the turning point. I see Armageddon as a very useful device of cleansing. We all need to be sorted out now and again. And if you don't think our species needs to be sorted out, you're not seeing the news that I'm seeing. So I think of Armageddon as like a review and repair event that's going to challenge us all to get it right and get on track again. Very positive thing. But these people who speak about the darkness, they don't see that. They see something horrible. Now, my job is not to understand their horror or to reverse their beliefs or anything. That's not going to work. Our job as bringers of light is to bring light, like the Christmas tree. And I think that's what this image is about. I've written these words in this book, Sabian Alchemy. Taurus 9, a Christmas tree decorated. Confidence in a new dawn. We see now that even in a cold, dark period, we have the inner wherewithal to bring light and joy. It's enough to say that, actually. We can bring light and joy. We have that within us to do that. Much of the cynicism arising out of religiosity is burned off by the realization that the spirituality of our faith is what we used to transform painful situations, loss and dark, debilitating grief, and to turn these things into optimism, joy and sharing. The general principle: when there is darkness, we need to seek out the light and move towards it and bring light to new situations. At Christmas we have giving and kindness and family reunion and being on your best behaviour with everyone and wishing everyone well, even the strangers. That's what we do at Christmas. That's how that light is brought in the dark period when some people might be suffering some depression because they haven't got what they need at that time of year. It's made more poignant. So we bring that kind of light. But this is not only about Christmas. It's not really about Christmas at all. This is about our ability, our duty, our joy to respond to darkness with light. We could see darkness as that which triggers light. That's the purpose of darkness, to trigger light. We could see it that way, and it's not wrong. Light cannot actually exist even without darkness. It's a meaningless idea. Light and darkness are polarized things and aspects of each other. And we're using the terminology here as a metaphor, light and dark. You could say good and bad. You could say creativity and destruction. You know, those kind of polarities tend to be interpreted by us as good and bad, to be honest. And it's not realistic. Even Armageddon is good. And not many people can see that. But we must see that. We must look for that. We must bring that into conversations with people that insist on bringing us down into the troubled times. And you will have those in your life. You know, at the very least, your parents. But some people seem to want to bring us down to their level of depression and their certainty that things are bad and getting worse. And I just won't have it. And I will ignore it if I got the chance. But if I don't have a chance to get away from these people that bring me into relief and insist that there's darkness, if I have to, then what I do is I pray. And that might be an inner thing that I do. But if I'm in the presence of darkness, then I pray, because prayer is how I access light. And I don't mean this is a religious statement at all. It's more like a protection, but it's even more like a bringing of the light. So I think that we're encouraged to remember that we have that access to light through prayer. Now the South Node is in Scorpio 9, the dental work. This is about destruction and repair. So it kind of ties in with what we've been talking about. Stresses of social pressure lead us to take food that is harmful to teeth, which were not made to process so much sugar, salt or fat. Dentists were invented to overcome this issue, arising through unnatural behaviour. We all have capacity to find a way to work out solutions to the problems we encounter whenever we wander too far off the path of what is natural for the body. At one level, the cycle of all life is one of destruction and repair. Bringing repair to something that is broken is an aspect of what we've been talking about in Taurus 9. Here we have it again in Scorpio 9, an echo of the same theme. If something's broken, we fix it. If we do something silly like eating processed sugar too much, we need a dentist. So we invent dentists, and then we get them to fix our teeth. That's the image here. In every situation, wherever you have done something which is unnatural, then it will lead to a result which is the natural response to deal with unnatural things, and that is to get you back on track, to repair the damage. And we have this inbuilt facility within the physical body to deal with whatever happens. If we have minor cuts and bruises, and even major things sometimes, the body tends to fix itself. And we can aid that process with herbs and with dieting, but most particularly with the mind. The mind is the strongest healer. And what we're asked to do during this period when the North Node is going through the ninth degree of Taurus, South Node, ninth degree of Scorpio, what we're being asked to do is to recalibrate our knee-jerk responses to bad news and to negative thoughts, and have a response of light. Come up with optimism or faith, or repair what's broken, or pray, or do something to bring light into a situation, and see every dark situation as an opportunity to reaffirm that you're a being of light.